wherever you are in the world right now. My name is Prash, and I am coming to you to share a realization that really feels appropriate at this time to share, and something that really just came upon me while I was doing the humble task of cooking. So I was getting my dinner ready, and all kinds of food was being prepared, and I'm no stranger to being in the kitchen, as if you know. So I was getting some food together, and while this was going on, um, I'm just going to start again in case you missed that, folks. So, hello. I'm Prash Katecha of Urban Spirituality, Stress to Success. I wanted to share a little realization that I had, and it came in the most uncanny, unusual way. Really hit me a little bit. And I felt that the realization I got from the simple act of cooking really paints a picture of something that we can all embrace as these weeks and months unfold, and something that we can benefit from. And that, for me, is, let me explain it this way. So I was preparing and using some vegetables, specifically potatoes. And a lot of us, British tend to use a lot of potatoes. And almost every dish that calls upon things like potatoes requires some kind of boiling or prep. And then it got me thinking, almost every nation around the world has a staple vegetable that requires some sort of heating or boiling or treatment in order for it to be useful. So, Europeans have potatoes, in Africa, cassava or plantain, or for example, wild yam. And then in the Polynesian islands, you have, it's called taro. And wherever you look, a lot of cultures around the world tend to rely on staple root vegetables that require some kind of boiling and prep. And it got me thinking, you take a hard substance like that, it's rough, it's raw, you treat it, you boil it, you steam it, whatever you do, and then it becomes a palatable dish. It's easy to digest, it's enjoyable. It has to undergo this treatment, right, in order for it to go from where it was to where it is now. And that really got me thinking about how we as human beings need to undergo a certain amount of refinement. We need to undergo a certain degree of refinement ourselves, a treatment, as it were, in order to bring out a better side of ourselves. And that's the realization I've been sharing, certainly as a reframe. One of my coaching clients is going through a very tough time right now. And, she has a son, he's unruly, he's a teenager. It's a really difficult time. And I got it to see it like this, that look, any dish that you make which calls upon potatoes or any staple vegetable that we use requires some kind of prep and heating. You've got to heat it. So I liken heat to refinement. You're needing to do something to it to refine it. And so I say that our character is shaped during this difficult time. And I therefore put to you that maybe we need to start seeing more and more and reframing the difficulties that we have as treatment on ourselves. It's a refinement of our character. It's a refinement, it's a shaping of our soul. Does that make sense? Like, we're kind of shaping our soul. For me, it's very much like I'm having, we're all having to do with less. We're having to be more austere. We're having to make do with less. We're having to tolerate family members and sometimes kind of have a little tension amongst each other in the house. There are these little snafus. There's a lot of give and take. There's a lot more boundary testing going on amongst human beings, right? We're pushing each other's boundaries a lot more, and our comfort zones are being stretched. So all of these things in my book are refinements. We're refining ourselves. We're refining our character, our personality, our capabilities, and our tolerance levels. And I think what happens is when you look and start to see refinement as a positive thing, and I take it back to the ancients, I take it back to those people who lived eons before us, the sages, the wise people of those ancient times and ancient cultures. Almost every culture paid deference to the importance of austerity, of tolerance, of voluntarily undergoing some discomfort. They always encouraged believers to see austerity as a positive thing. And I think that's my message here, that if we see austerity, aka difficult times, as refinement, shaping of our souls, I think we can start to really get empowered and take control back of our own lives. See, here's the other thing. A lot of us feel like we've lost control. Can you relate to that? I think a lot of us can, where you may feel like you've lost control. It's like a lot of stuff that you've been doing, a lot of stuff that you've been trying to do, you can't do it. It's slipping through your hands. So when we have a lot of personal freedoms and where we are deprived of those personal freedoms, the freedom to move around, the freedom to eat, go where we want, eat what we want, do what we want. When a lot of those personal freedoms are removed, we feel like we've lost something. And obviously, when we feel like we've lost something, it puts us in a state of lack. It puts us in a state of disheartenment, or negative emotions start to arise. But if we can start to see the removal of certain comforts as a refinement of our character, if we can equate that difficulty to refinement, to shaping our souls, I think we can start to really get back that control, take back some power into our lives, and know that we're actually doing this for a higher reason. And I think that's the message here that I want to share, that just like we have to treat vegetables and treat them with heat in order to create something beautiful. So our character, our senses, our mind, and our ego has to be heated. It has to be refined. In other words, it has to undergo austerity and difficulties in order to refine it. And what comes out is a finer human being. We become finer, we become brighter, we become more tolerant, we become more kind and compassionate. And we're able to show up as a more empathetic, empowered, and enlightened version of ourselves. That's all I'm going to say right now. I hope that makes some sense, and I hope you can resonate with some of that. Feel free to share your comments. It'd be great to hear what you've got to say about the small topic. Otherwise, it's been great to be here with you, and I'll catch you guys all again on another video. Peace out. Namaste.